This is not a tutorial. Now that we got that out of the way, today we're upgrading my fish-only saltwater tank to an official reef tank by adding some coral. My first group of coral have been in quarantine and have successfully completed it. They're looking good, they're ready to graduate and make it into the main display today. You ready? Let's go. So the reason why I say this isn't a tutorial is because I've done some research and I kind of know what I'm planning to do, but it's really what I'm planning to do. By no way is this video intended to be the procedure for how to add coral, how to glue coral, how to cut coral. This is gonna be the best way I've learned to do it in my short time of doing some research, and you could follow the same method or you could choose your own. I'm sure that the way I'm gonna do this is not the best way. I'm sure someone is gonna have another opinion of how to do something different, how to do something better. And if you do, feel free to leave me a comment because I need to learn as much as possible. But in the meantime, I want to share with you guys my experience, my journey, so you can see how I started and eventually where I'm going to end up. Now, most of these corals that I started with are easy beginner corals, naturally, all right? They are mostly soft corals like Zoanthids. I got some Xenia, I got some green Star Polyps. Then I do have some kind of beginner / intermediate corals, a couple of LPS corals, which are the Torch, the Duncan, some Favia, Cyphastria. But all in all, really beginner friendly corals, nothing too difficult, very easy to handle, very forgiving with water parameters. That's why I went with these guys. While you guys know I don't usually pick a favorite fish, I have to say I absolutely have a favorite coral, and that's gonna be my TSA Blue Torch right here. This thing is just looking amazing. So this is going to be our first one out of the QT and into the main display. I have a good idea of where I want to place them into the tank. From what I've learned about coral placement in your display, it's all about lighting and flow requirements for each individual coral. Some coral require high light, some require low light, some require high flow, some require low flow. So you got to know what you're dealing with. And yes, you can find all that information by doing some research online, but the good thing about Top Shelf Aquatics is that when you order your first coral, not only do they send you pictures and images of them, but they also tell you right next to them what light and what flow each one requires. I think that's a very good tip right there. But being that these are all kind of beginner friendly coral, all of them are most likely going to be somewhere in the moderate to low light range and the moderate to low flow range, which means that you basically don't want to put them too high up in your tank. The higher they are, the more light they're gonna get because they're closer to the light up above them. Also, you usually keep your flow wave makers up high in the tank, so they're gonna get more flow up on top as well. Those are more for SPS coral, which are the higher difficulty level of corals. I'm nowhere near that yet, but I'm sure eventually we will get there because the plan for this tank anyway is to become a mixed reef tank. SPS, LPS, and soft corals all in one tank is the goal anyway. So in my case, for the guys that I have, we're gonna look at this scape about mid-range, right? Middle of the tank. They're gonna go this level and lower. Nothing above middle of the tank because they don't need any more lighting than that. When placing coral, it's a good idea to give yourself a nice little workstation. I got mine set up right here. This is my coral little fragging kit right here. I'll put a link in the description below if you like the way that looks. Comes with all these tools, including bone cutters right there. I've got a little jug of tank water, salt water, in case we have to temporarily just hold the coral down before going in the tank. I got a box of gloves. I got my Chem reef glue, which we're gonna use to glue the coral to the rock in the tank. And you should have some kind of eye protection. I don't have any, but I do have these cool orange lenses, which is gonna be my eye protection. Because when you start cutting the frag plugs, those plugs can fly all over the place, even right into your eye. So stay protected. All right, I'm gonna stop procrastinating. Let's get the first coral. First coral up is going to be my Torch coral. Let's go over to our station. So with a coral like this, it's a good idea to remove the coral itself from the frag plug. Now, I don't have those band saws that these reefers use, so I'm not gonna attempt to cut the coral off right there, but I would use my bone cutters and cut the sides of this plug off. And the reason why I say I would is because I'm not going to this time. Why? Because I have a great location right here in the tank. There's a rock right there in the tank that's got a hole in it that came that way. and it's gonna be perfect for the plug to go right in it. So that's what we're gonna try to do right now. Let's see if this plug fits. Here we go. Ooh, it fits right there perfect. A little loosey, but be good for now. I don't think anything's gonna move it. So normally when you add new coral to your tank, what you should do really is put it as low as possible, maybe even right into the substrate, because you wanna give your new coral time to acclimate not only to your water parameters, but to your current light settings as well. With that being said, obviously I didn't do that, right? I put it up kind of midway, but that's because that's where I really want this coral to be. So I'm gonna test it out right there for a little bit, see how he reacts. As you can see, he's not too happy right now. He lost all his color, his tentacles kind of got sucked back in, but we'll give him time. This rock area right there, that little curve, that's actually gonna be my torch garden. My goal is to have a bunch of torches, or if not torches, at least Euphyllia coral, which are either torches, frog spawn, hammer corals. They'll be somewhere in this area right here to make a Euphyllia garden, basically. A little context about torch corals: they can sting other corals with their sweeper tentacles. I think I see one sweeper tentacle kind of out there right now. So you don't want your torches too close to anything else. This next one's gonna be my pulsing Xenia. Check him out right there, how happy he is. All those little fingertips pulsing, I love it. Let's get him out of there. All right, here we go. Now with this guy, I do have a specific spot on the rock that I do want him to go. So I am gonna do my best to clip this plug and have less of a disc showing in the tank. So for that, I am gonna put on my handy dandy safety goggles. Check me out. Ta-da! Okay, go into my kit and we're gonna grab the bone cutters right here. And the first thing that I'm gonna do is remove the bottom of the plug. This base right here we don't need, so. That was easy, a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be. And then I'm just gonna try to clip some of this disc off to not have so much disc, you know what I mean? Very easy. This stuff breaks off like a cookie. It's like a cookie crumble. Being careful not to touch the actual coral or cut any of the actual coral itself. All right, that's good enough. I'm not trying to go crazy. I just wanted to cut some of it off. Look how much smaller of a footprint it has now. All right, now we get to gluing. We'll grab our Sea-Chem reef glue. We're just gonna put a nice generous amount right on top there. More than enough. So I'm gonna poke at it a little bit, mix it a little bit, ready to be sticky, and then we'll go straight to the tank with it. Here we go. He's definitely gonna go on this island right here by himself, and that's for good reason. So with the glue, you kind of want to touch the rock, mix it around a little bit. There you go. You can pull on it a little bit. You'll feel it getting kind of tangy. And then once it's tangy, sit it down, give it a little bit of force. Hold it for a couple of seconds. There it is. That puppy's on there. Check this out. Wave it around, not going anywhere. All right. First coral glued. So the reason why this Xenia is going on this island by itself is because Xenia coral are notorious for being very invasive. They will grow very rapidly. They will spread very rapidly. They'll take over your tank if you let them. So a good idea is to have them somewhere on their own. So because I like Xenia a lot, even though a lot of people say, a lot of reefers say don't even get Xenia, but I really like it a lot. So I'm gonna let it live right here on this nice little island. And if you can see the flow, you see that it's still got a pretty good amount of flow, even though it's pretty far away from the wave makers. So that's good to know that this bottom half does still have some flow. Next up is my Duncan Coral. All right, let's grab the Duncan. This guy's gonna look very unhappy the moment I grab him. Check him out, look how he closed. Look how fast he closed up. Look at him, completely closed the moment I grabbed him. Duncan corals are very good for letting you know if things are wrong in your tank, because they're very good indicators of bad water parameters or just being unhappy in general. So I have a plan for where I want this Duncan as well. Now the disc doesn't really take up that much space. You can see there's not a lot of space there, so I'm really not going to mess with it at all. I'm going to leave the disc, but I am going to take out the bottom half of this plug, because this is not needed. That's nice and flush. Okay, we'll get our glue. Mix it up right here, give it a nice little mix. Make sure it's gonna get tangy and sticky. Now where I want this Duncan coral is gonna be on this side over here. Right on the tip of that rock. That's kind of where I'd like to place my little tracker coral. Move it around a little bit, let that glue grab onto the rock, grab onto the plug, bottom of the plug. That's pretty good. Doesn't look like it's going anywhere. So like I said, Duncan coral are great indicators of your water parameter and water conditions. They'll let you know if anything is off, if they're missing some minerals, if they're not happy with the lighting and the flow. They will close up just the way my guy is closed up right now. So we have to give him some time and see if he's happy in that location. Now we're gonna go with the GSP, my green star polyp right here. Look how nice and happy and healthy he is. So we're gonna see how ugly he looks when I start handling him. Look at that. No color, like it doesn't even exist anymore. That's how quick they are to tell you. Now this one's gonna be a little different, guys. Green star polyps are also very invasive and they grow very, very quickly. So you have to stay on top of them and keep track of them. If not, they will outgrow your other coral. They'll even overgrow your coral, meaning they'll grow over your coral. So we are going to put this in a very unique position. Again, I'm not really going to mess with the disc too much. Maybe I can, but I won't. It's fine because of the location. Where he's going to go, instead of putting him on a rock and then having to prune him periodically and take care of his spread, I'm gonna put him on my back glass panel back there so he can grow and cover that whole back panel in a nice green carpet looking glass panel. That's the plan. Key word, guys, is that's the plan. Let's see if it actually works out. So I'm actually gonna put a ton of glue on this whole disc because this one's gonna be mounted vertically on that glass and I don't want it going anywhere. All right, that's a ton of glue. Probably too much. But it's okay. I don't want this thing to fall off that glass panel and then end up upside down in the substrate. You know what I mean? So, because these are also moderate to low light requirements, I'm gonna put them pretty low on the glass so he's not just getting blasted with light. All right, that held almost immediately. Now looking at it from the front panel, I probably put it a little too low because I can't see him from behind the rocks, but that's probably gonna be a good healthy spot for him to grow, start expanding and encrusting that glass back there. All right, next up, we're gonna start with some zoas now. So I'm gonna do my Bam Bam Zoa. Check out my Bam Bam Zoa right there. Looking excellent. Zoas are also moderate to low lighting, moderate to low flow. So they're gonna go, like I said, on the bottom half of the tank. Again, it's a really small plug, really small disc, so I'm not gonna mess with it trying to chop it off. I'm just gonna chop this bottom part off. Dabble it all up, and into the tank we go. The spot I have for this beautiful Zoa is gonna be right here next to that Duncan, kind of. Right on this beautiful platform right here. That's it, she's holding. And my guy is already showing color, even though I just manhandle him. I could see that those orange shine right through. That's good. That's always been a really happy Zoa, even in quarantine, always nice and bright. Zoas also grow really fast. They can spread very easily. So you want to put them in a location where you know you're not going to have too many other coral competing for the real estate, because they will grow and they will spread. Zoas also release something called a polytoxin. So you got to keep that in mind. One of the reasons why we're wearing gloves when we're handling these coral, because some of them do release toxins. Zoas are one of them. Next up is going to be my Super Saiyan Zoanthid, right here in this corner. And he's going to go a similar location to the last Bam Bam Zoanthid. What we're trying to do is just get a color contrast so that it'll look really nice when they all grow out and all the different colors are next to each other, because that's going to look nice. Same deal here with this guy, Chop Suey. And his location is going to be just over the top of the Bam Bam, right on this nice little ledge right here. See, not too close to the other Zoanthid, but not too far. So as they grow and spread, it'd be nice for, well, that's stuck already. It'll be nice for the color of the Super Saiyan. Check out that green. It's got color already. The color of the Super Saiyan in contrast with the color of the Bam Bam. If this spreads that way, maybe it'll spread up here. This is definitely going to spread across this ledge here, and who knows which way it goes, up or down, but it's going to look nice. So check out the Smurf F. That's our Smurf F Zoanthid with that nice little blue and green, looking like a little Smurf F, hence the name. There we go. I feel the stick right there. Okay, right here is a Gatorade Zoanthid. He's already a little upset because I must have touched him when I grabbed the Smurf F. This Gatorade Zoa is gonna go on this side of the island. Oh, snap. Next up, we're going with some Favia Coral. Check out my Favia right here. I got a Christmas Favia right there, and right next to it is a Wolverine Favia. The Wolverine Favia isn't too happy right now. Not as happy as it was when I first got him, but hopefully it's just a water parameter issue and he's gonna get happy when we get him in there. So we're gonna go with the Christmas Favia first. They lose all color when they're not in that blue light. And for the Favia Coral, what I really want to do is put them really, really low, almost on the substrate, because Favia are going to spread around whatever rock they're on. This location for the Favia is probably going to be too much light, even though it's really low, but I kind of want them right on this rock sitting here somewhere. Even though it's very low in the tank, it's right in the middle of both lights where they kind of cross each other. So this might be too much light, but we'll see what happens. Now, Favia Coral are known to release sweeper tentacles and sting other corals, more so at night. So you don't want Favia Coral too close to anything either. And our Wolverine Favia is gonna go just as low, but over on this side over here. Last but not least is gonna be my Cyphastria Coral. This Cyphastria has not been happy for a while, and I'm actually not 100% sure that it's still alive. It's lost a lot of its color, but I do still see some life, some color in the middle of it. Not right now, obviously, that I'm handling it. So I'm gonna put it in the tank because I'm hoping that the good water parameters that are in the main tank will bring it back to life. Now, Cyphastria is an encrusting coral that's going to grow completely over anything that it touches. Rock, stone, glass. So for the Cyphastria, which is similar to the green Star Polyp, because of that encrusting style, I'm gonna also put this on the back panel so that it can grow as big as it wants to without me fighting it or pruning it back. And this one's gonna go actually right in the middle, right on my overflow box, as low as my arm allows. Let's see how low I can go here. If that Cyphastria Coral lives, it's gonna cover this whole overflow box and it's gonna look amazing. Before we wrap this video, please allow me to show you what a difference 24 hours makes. This is the day of. That's my Super Saiyan Zoanthid. Here's the Bam Bam Zoanthid, pretty closed up. Here's my Duncan, not looking too happy, but you know, surviving. Here is my Wolverine Favia, still looking kind of dark. Now we got my Christmas Favia in the middle of the tank, looking all right. The Cyphastria on the overflow box with a bunch of glue sticking out of it. Here's my torch coral, not fully closed up, starting to release some of those tentacles a little bit. The Smurf F Zoanthid, while my yellow tank beats up on that snail back there. Here's the pulsing Xenia, kind of thinking that it's getting a little too much flow, but we'll see. And finally, on the back glass panel, the GSP, the green Star Polyps, looking kind of sad. Fast forward 24 hours. Check out that Super Saiyan Zoanthid, looking beautiful. Check out that Bam Bam Zoanthid. Look at that orange. Look at how big it's opened up. Here's my Duncan. Look at how happy that Duncan looks. I'm loving it. Here's the Wolverine Favia. Not much change to the Favia. We got to give it some time. It's okay. I understand, Wolfie. Here's my Christmas Favia. Looking a little better. Color's a little bit brighter than yesterday. The Cyphastria on the overflow box, not much change at all. Maybe a little bit of, you see those little green dots starting to show. That's a good sign that it's not dead. Check out the blue torch. Oh my goodness. This guy is going to be the stud of the tank. I knew it. I knew it from the day I got him. I just knew it. 24 hours later, look at that joy and that happiness and that flow and that wave. It looks beautiful. I love it. Then we got the Smurf F Zoanthid. I get some focus. Look at that color. Now you can actually see some green and a little bit of blue in the middle there. So it's much happier than yesterday. Then we got the pulsing Xenia. You could almost see the fingers pulsing a little bit, but I do still feel like it might have a little too much flow right there. Might need to move him, but looking better than yesterday for sure. Check out the Gatorade Zoanthid that I forgot to show the before image, but you can see some purple in there. You can see a little green in the middle. So happy little Zoanthid coral. And finally, we go around the back and we check out the GSP. Look at that green Star Polyp today versus yesterday. Much, much better. Looking good. About to cover that whole back glass. Excuse me, Clowny. Stop being a camera hog. As intimidated as I was about adding these coral into this tank, I have to say, overall, I'm super happy with the results. Just one day later, I can't wait to see what this tank looks like in a month or two. Okay, guys, I guess I'm a reefer now. The coral are all in place. They're looking okay, but they're going to need a lot more time to let me know if they're happy with their positioning. Are all these coral going to survive? I hope so. Are all these coral going to stay in the locations I put them in today? I don't know. That's going to take time to find out. That's part of this journey of doing something new. You do as much research as you possibly can. You finally decide to execute, and then you continue learning as you go through the journey. If you want to see how these coral do in the future, as well as any future coral I might add to the tank, because it is going to be a mixed reef, make sure to subscribe because I'm definitely keeping you updated on this tank. And if you're a beginner to the saltwater world and have been considering trying it out, I got the perfect playlist for you right there. Make sure to check it out. Before you go, give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you on the other side. Peace.